tato Nasingho Yato 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 Yamitato Nasingho Bahe Nasingho Hridaye Nasingho Bahe Nasingho Hridaye Nasingho Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapadye Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapadye Sharanam Prapadye Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapadye Tavagara Kamalavare Nakamadbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Nyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare O Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev 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 Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So before you all go, thank you all so much for attending the Raj Bhoga Arti on this beautiful occasion, Sunday. Before you leave, I'll drop you with a little meditation, and perhaps that will encourage you to stay for the next session of what we have. So there are two types. There's Hari Katha and there's Hari Kirtan. And so many of us on Sundays, we come here and we chant and we hear the holy name being chanted. But for many of us, we may not be in a very fortunate position where we're always able to think and meditate on Krishna, especially when we're in our workplace, when we're busy in our lifestyle, doing many things. So Harikatha is so beautiful. It's an opportunity to hear something profound, something relatable, something that you feel is relevant in your life, and to be able to take that with you throughout the week. So then therefore actually you can remember Krishna and you can think of Krishna, especially when you're in an environment where it may be difficult around you. But you see, every transformation begins from within. It begins from actually establishing our relationship with Krishna. So what am I saying? Actually, the greatest investment you can make in the next half an hour to an hour of your time is to sit here and listen to Harikatha. So the opportunity to hear from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the words spoken by Sri Krishna. So I would highly encourage every single one of you to rejuvenate yourself and to nourish yourself today for the upcoming week. So please do remain. We're going to have a class now, and yes, and then after that there'll be Prashadam. Hare Krishna. The class will be given by Mukunda Prasad Prabhu. So it'll be really wonderful. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions. And yeah, he's very wise. Yeah, he's studied a lot, so definitely throw some questions his way. Hare Krishna. So please, usually the etiquette in the temple room is that whenever there's a class being given, we face the speaker. So you can see that he'll be sitting here. So you can all just face towards the speaker. And yeah, to be attentive is also important. Often we miss out on so many things in our lives because we're not attentive. So please try and be attentive. He may ask you questions also, or you can ask him questions. Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, just this one.
Hare Krishna. Can you all hear me? Okay. Great. Okay, we'll just start off with a bhajan. Jai Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. 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 Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodhanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Jai Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Firstly, thank you all for being here and not having an empty room that I'll be talking to. But either ways, Srila Prabhupada has taught us that we should speak of Krishna no matter what, and we may not be able to see in an empty, so-called empty room, we may not be able to see other living entities, but there's always small little entities here and there. So I pray this message reaches to them also. Today we're going to be talking about the relevancy of Bhagavad Gita in the modern age. Interesting. A scripture over 5,000 years old. And how is it relevant in today's age? So I'm just going to read out 2 verses from chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita. And the chapter is entitled The Divine and Demoniac Qualities. Ooh, demoniac. Let me just get to the page, sorry. And what I'll do, the purport to the first verse is extremely long, so I'll just read the purport to the second verse only, and then we'll get going. So this is Krishna speaking to Arjun on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I'll read the Sanskrit first and then the English translations. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi Dhanam Dhamascha Yagyascha Svadhyayash Tapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodas Tyaga Shanti Rapaishunam Dhaya Bhuteshvalol Tavam Mardhavam Hri Chapalam Tejakshama Dhriti Shocham Odroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata. So I'll just read the translation. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. So just remember, it's a long list. We might have forgotten all of them. But we'll come back to them. These are the divine qualities that Krishna is giving not only Arjun, but all of mankind, all living entities, in fact. These are the divine qualities we should try to imbibe. And then Krishna explains the demoniac qualities, or those qualities which keep us away from our true self, keep us away from Krishna. Dhambo darpo bhimanascha krodha parushyameva ajnanam chabhijatasya partha sampadam asurim. So the translation is pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pritha. So I'll just read the purport to this, it's very short. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The demoniac want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles. It's very important. People want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, but they don't want to follow the principles. They are always arrogant or proud in possessing some type of education or so much wealth. Now, don't think if you're very wealthy, oh no, it's not that. We'll explain. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. Over trifles, they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically, according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers, and as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. So before we begin, we'll say some prayers. If you do know these prayers, please do say along. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Gadamayam Didhati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Triyubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So yes, the relevancy of the Bhagavad Gita in the modern age. Before we go into these two verses, the Bhagavad Gita, or the situation the Bhagavad Gita was spoken in, is as relevant to every single one in this room and beyond. Why? First of all, the Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna himself, and it was spoken to whom? Who was the Bhagavad Gita spoken to? Anyone? Arjun, yes. And externally, Arjun wasn't a sadhu or a saint. He didn't wear robes. What was his position in the world? A warrior, exactly. He was in administration. His position was not only as a warrior, but in the kingly order to look after society. So in today's sort of, I guess we won't say the monarchy so much because they don't have so much power, but more so like the government, you could say. So you could say, compared to like a saint or a sadhu, totally different position. Some of you might have managerial positions. Some of you are parents, children. Everyone's a child, of course. How were we born otherwise? You might be managers, you might be so many things in your occupations. You might be students. So Krishna created this specific situation to speak the Bhagavad Gita to show how relevant it is. But why was the Bhagavad Gita spoken? Before that, what situation was the Bhagavad Gita spoken in? Okay, this Krishna, he's speaking to Arjun, who's a prince. What was the situation? What was it in the middle of? Anyone know? A war. Yeah, a war, it's a bit wild, right? Like, God coming to give the most divine knowledge, he's going to do it in the middle of a war. Why though? Why? What's the significance? Why did Krishna arrange it in such a way? Because there's so much we can see in today's day and age. There's so much turmoil. There's so much tribulation. There's even physical wars happening right now. But what goes even more deeper is that we have our own internal wars. When you get stressed out, that's you warring with yourself. You're in battle with yourself. Like, I can't do this, or this is happening, or I'm in this struggle, I'm in this difficulty. That's you warring with yourself. Because if you weren't stressing out, that means you already found a solution and you're happy with it. But if you're stressing out, people have given you solutions, you're not happy with the solutions, you're going through 10 million different solutions, that's you warring with yourself. So Krishna is showing us that, Krishna purposely did this to show us that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're going through in life, and to you, of course, everything's relative. What might be difficult for someone might not be for someone else, but it doesn't mean that it's not difficult, right? We shouldn't neglect those things. Those things are important. But Krishna is showing that actually, in comparison to what Arjun was facing, what was he facing? He was opposing against his, as explained in the first chapter, his cousins, his brothers, his uncles, grandfathers, grandchildren, all of these people on the other side who he had to kill. Practically no one's going through that situation, so we're okay. We're okay. But Krishna is showing such an extreme to show that even if Arjun was able to understand the message of the Bhagavad Gita and still be spiritual in such a condition, no matter what we go through, we can always find the solution to our problems or situations by taking advantage of what Krishna has given us. So that's the first thing. Always, some people say, I see these quotes that if you're going through a struggle, just remember someone's going through something more than you, and then it might give you some ease. But try to remember what Arjun went through and put yourself in that situation. Arjun, again, why the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, because Arjun didn't want to fight the war. He said to Krishna, look, I can't do it. In the start of the second chapter, I can't do it. I'm putting my bow down. I'm shaking. I see all of these people that I care about in front of me. And he even gave arguments to Krishna. He's giving an argument to God saying, look, this is the reason why I can't do it. It's not right to kill your own family. If we kill our family, it's going to affect all the people that come after. So on and so many things, right? But yeah, still, Krishna then gave him the knowledge of how to see things. Because if everyone in this room today all followed these divine qualities, became Krishna conscious, became in love with Krishna, and lived a beautiful, peaceful life, it doesn't mean wars are going to stop, right? Arjun still had to go with the head with that war. He still had to fight his family members. He came out victorious, but lives were ended, but still he was transcendental and followed these divine qualities. And we go into that now. So there is a full list of divine qualities compared. Like if you caught the drift, Krishna says a whole list of divine qualities. And then he says just about 6 demoniac qualities: pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, so on and so forth. Why? Because it's always easy doing the wrong thing, isn't it? It's always easy doing the wrong thing. I see people smiling, nodding their heads. And that's true for everyone. That's true for everyone. It's always easy to do the wrong thing. And so for those who follow the path of righteousness, that's why we respect them so much, because it's not so easy doing the right thing always. Because even when you're trying to do the right thing, and you should see all the devotees here at the manor, they're just so wonderful. They wake up early. It's not to say everyone now wake up early, like 4 in the morning, but they wake up early every single day. But you know what they're doing? They're still battling. They could be still battling with their mind to do that, because it's not easy. It's not easy. I stayed at the manor once for 9 months, and I also had to do the same. Wake up Early. Well, I always like a challenge, so I woke up even more earlier than 4 o'clock. Way earlier than 4 o'clock. But still, even at the end of that 9 months, the mind, which is not me, which is not you, remember, we are not the mind. The mind is separate from us. The mind still said, just rest, just sleep in a little bit more. Another 5 minutes, exactly. He knows. Be honest. We're opening our hearts here. Who's got like 10 alarms with spaces of 5 minutes each? Anyone? Yeah, be honest, it's okay. No one's judging. Krishna would never judge. Look, he's laughing over there, praying to Srila Prabhupada, like, please let me turn off my alarms. Look, he's turning off his alarms now. So yeah, the mind will always try to be against you. Always. But the beauty of it is, again, those things which may be seemingly hard is the righteous path. Is discipline, and we go on to that. So let's pick out some points that we have from here and see what Krishna is talking about. Okay. So first of all, Krishna says one quality that we can all imbibe is ahimsa. Okay? Ahimsa means non-violence. Now, please don't take everything too literally, meaning non-violence. Don't think that, every time I walk outside now, I have to make sure there's no ants or insects like in 10 meters of me before I take my next step. That's nice, that's amazing, do that. But if you were going to work, you'd probably reach there in 10 years' time because you were trying to take each step with precaution. So what does non-violence actually mean? It does not mean zero violence. It means minimizing violence to the smallest degree you possibly can. Why? Because even science proves that whenever we breathe, make sure you turn off your alarms. When you breathe, the bacteria that's coming out your mouth, they're actually dying. So what are you going to do? You're going to stop breathing? No, it's not possible. You just have to minimize your breath as much as possible. And not minimize your breath as much as possible. Minimize violence as much as possible. And how can we do that? The best way we can do that is, yes, taking precautions, but spiritualizing our activities. When we sing Krishna's names, when we speak about Krishna, then yes, those bacteria are obviously coming out into the air, exposing themselves and unfortunately dying, but we're spiritualizing our activities, and even those bacteria, those little souls are getting benefit. So yes, non-violence means minimizing the harm we do as much as possible. And this is only physical. It's not only physical. You might think to yourself, but I haven't punched anyone today. I haven't kicked anyone today. I am non-violent. I have ticked off Krishna's list. I'm spiritual. That's it, bus. Done. No, it does not mean that. It's also the mind. How are we violent in our thoughts? Right? We're violent in our thoughts. We criticize others. We think, this person's like this. You're no different to the person punching or kicking someone. You're just harming in a different way, in a different degree. We're violent in our words sometimes. So you'll understand how all of these kind of link together. We're violent in our words sometimes. We're harsh. We're rude. And this is what Prabhupada explains in the next verse about the demoniac qualities. He says, over trifles, people become angry and speak harshly, not gently. But just think about it. Just think about your own situation when you've spoken harshly. It doesn't make you feel good after. It doesn't make the other person feel good after, right? You calm down and you think, that's all okay. But just imagine the emotional effect you have given to that person. Even if they're like, no, it's okay, but that's stored within them. And the more you do it, the more it builds up on them, And sometimes I know, I'm not a parent myself, but I know parents can be harsh with their children. And just imagine the effects that can have. And then we get confused. Why are they getting angry back at me? It's not always the case, but this is just one reason could possibly be. But yeah, so Think about non-violence. We shouldn't be only non-violent in our action or minimizing our violence to the best we can, but in our thoughts, in our words as well. It's so important. It's so important. Okay, truthfulness now. Krishna says we should be truthful. That's a divine quality we should try to imbibe. So again, we can say the easy answer, oh, I was truthful today. I never told a lie. I ticked off Krishna's list. I am perfect. But what does this mean? This actually means sometimes we have ideals. We have ideals, but we don't follow them. We say, oh, I will be this kind of person. I will be kinder. New Year's resolution. I will be more kind. I will go to the gym. That's your ideal, to be healthy. Next week, you break that ideal. You weren't truthful to your own self. So being truthful means to being truthful to ourselves, our ideals, and yes, to others. So that's very important. And you might think, again, don't take this so literal where we're harsh on ourselves. Krishna's not saying be so strict and harsh on yourself. Because if Krishna was like that, when Arjun tried to argue against Krishna, initially Krishna would be like, no, forget what you're saying. But no, Krishna listens. Krishna's compassionate, he listens. And so Krishna is saying, be compassionate with yourself. Yes, it's important to obviously take some austerity, have some strictness with ourselves, some discipline. But don't be so harsh where it breaks you. Don't think, oh, I was trying to be more healthy, but I ate the third cookie, which I wasn't supposed to. I went over my sugar limit. And that's it, I failed. No, things take time. Why do things take time? Again, the relevancy of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is how many verses? Not 5 verses and Arjun became pure like that. It's 700 verses. The conversation took about, they say, 45 minutes to an hour. It took 45 minutes to an hour for Arjun to then to realize what Krishna is saying. So things take time. Again, this is an extreme. Don't think I'll become perfect in an hour now or within this hour. Things take time. Now, like I mentioned, these qualities link with each other, but sometimes they rub against each other. Okay, you're saying be truthful, but you're saying no violence. But if a child comes to you and they do a little painting to parents, this might have come to you, and it's not the prettiest of pictures. But you don't tell the child, no, this is bad, look at the Mona Lisa, look at that, look at the perfection of this and that, terrible, go do it again. You don't do that. You tell them this is amazing, because what you see, your truth, it's not that you're lying to them, you're giving the truth which is deeper. You're telling them, I appreciate your effort more than actually, the child took a long time in school making that image for you to give it to you. For them, that's their best work. It's relative, it's their best work, and so you see the truthfulness, the truth within that is, I appreciate your effort more. But yeah, so how did these qualities rub against each other? Well, I tell you of this story of a man who vowed to never tell a lie. Now that's hard, right? Can anyone promise that right now? I will never tell a lie. It can be difficult. So there was this man, he vowed to never tell a lie. He was sitting there meditating, and all of a sudden, someone comes running. He's panting. He's like, oh, please, help me. There's 2 robbers. They're coming for me. They're going to take all my things. They're probably going to end my life. Please, help me now. And he's like, okay, what do you want? And he's like, and behind this man who's meditating, there's a shack, there's a little house. So he's like, can I please hide in your shack? So if they come here, then, they won't see me. And the man's like, okay, go hide in the shack. This little hut. She's meditating again, and about 5 minutes' time, these 2 robbers come. They come and they see the man meditating. Now remember, he vowed to never tell a lie. So the robber said to him, oh, did you see a man here? He looked like this. He was yay high. He's probably out of breath, running. He never told a lie, so he said, yes, I did see him. And then the two robbers said, okay, so where is he? And then the man said, oh, he's just in the hut behind me. Unfortunate experience. He vowed to never tell a lie. And so we might think that's amazing, that's gracious divine quality. But at the same time, we look at non-violence. He didn't cause the least amount of pain. He allowed someone to get robbed and get hurt in the process. So when we're going through this, always try to remember ahimsa, or non-violence, or causing the least amount of violence in our physical actions, our words and thoughts, is the elephant's footprint. It's the thing we should always come back to. It kind of overpowers everything else. In the same way, we're truthful to a child who doesn't create the most amazing painting. We go back to ahimsa. Let me cause the least amount of violence to this child's emotions, their happiness, their efforts in creating this picture. So these things are important. Now this next one, this one's very important. And you might think you're free from this, but let me tell you, the mind is sneaky and will allow you to do this quite often. So Krishna says, a divine quality is aversion to fault finding, being free from fault finding faults in others. Another word for this is criticizing. Yeah, I can see people shaking their heads. I can seeing people not shake their heads because they don't want to be caught out. But trust me, it happens. It happens with me. And I saw this amazing quote yesterday. It says that you only see flaws because you came looking for them. That's quite deep, right? You only see flaws in things because you came looking for them. Whether that was conscious or unconscious, whether it was on the top of your mind or not on top of your mind, you came looking for criticism in others. So, and these things, again, they link with each other. It links to pride. How does it link to pride? Well, I thought of this. When we are too proud of our position, we then give ourselves a platform to then look down on others. Right? And Krishna, one quality that Krishna talks about, not explicitly, but in other verses of a quality of a devotee or a divine person, is humility. When we are humble, when we see everyone equally, when we see everyone as a child of Krishna, a child of God, then we respect everyone equally. And that's not just human beings, all living entities, animals, plants, trees, so on and so forth. They're all living beings. They're all spirit souls, a child of Krishna. So just think about with your siblings, right? If your sibling came and, I don't know, pushed you, in that heat of that moment, you might get angry, you might push them back, but it lasts, what? A max a day, you'll stop speaking to them. But what links you together is your parents. But if a stranger did that, you'll be thinking about it for months and years, thinking, if I see that person again, that's it, I'm going to push them into the middle of the road or whatever it is. But you to your sibling, no, but what's the link? The link between you and your sibling are your parents. That's what unifies you. In the same way, when we see that every living being is equal in quality, spiritual quality, and a divine child of God, then we will not criticize others. We will not hold a grudge, so on and so forth. So one beautiful thing the word criticism comes to is the 3 C's of the mind. This is what you can think of in your daily life. The 3 C's of the mind, or also known the 3 cancers of the mind. The first one's criticism. Am I criticizing others? Is it growing? You know, cancers can grow and affect and unfortunately lead to unfortunate experiences. So in the same way, you criticize once, but then the mind thinks, oh, it's okay. Then you do it more and more, and it grows and it grows, and it becomes like a cancer within the mind. So criticizing is one of them. Complaining. How often are we complaining? You know, as I say sometimes, not to, I know my wife is watching, I'm sorry, my wife, but she might complain over something so small, and I say to her, it's okay, it's such a small thing, don't worry about it. Like, if, just imagine like one thing that happens to me a lot is you stub your little toe. Ooh, isn't that painful? When you're walking, you stub your little toe and you just want to complain. I see you smiling. It happened to you yesterday, didn't it? Yep. He knows the pain. So in the same way, like all of these things like we complain about, just think about it. If I just change my consciousness and think about things positively, it won't drain my energy. Complaining drains your energy. You become frustrated, it leads to anger, then it leads to hatred, it leads to so many things. It's like a domino effect. To push down the last domino, you don't need to push down the last domino. To push the first one creates a ripple effect. In the same way, criticizing creates a ripple effect. Complaining creates a ripple effect. And the last one is comparing. Don't we compare our life to others? Students may do that. This person's getting better grades than me. We do that in our workplaces. This person's in a higher position than me. We may do that amongst our family members. This person's, more wealthier than me, got all of this, so on and so forth. So these are the three cancers of the mind: criticizing, complaining, and comparing. If we just remove those cancers of the mind, the three C's of the mind, just imagine how much more happier our lives would be. How much more happier lives would be. Okay, and the next one is freedom from covetousness. Covetousness is an intense desire. The way it's described in the dictionary is an intense desire to want what someone else has. So greed, basically, greed and envy, an intense desire, not just a desire, oh, this person has nice hair, I want that. No, an intense desire, which leads to greed, wanting more. So we might have this initial idea, what is greed? Like, I'm not greedy, again, going to that easy solution. I'm not non-violent, I don't lie, I'm truthful, I'm not greedy. We have this idea like a cartoon character rubbing their hands, I want what they want, right? But how can we be more greedy? It comes to taking more than we actually need, and the key word is need, right? One way we can think of this is wealth. Now, don't think, spiritual life is being... Krishna talks about one thing, about simplicity. I can't have wealth, I should live under a tree. No, that's not what Krishna's talking about. Arjun, come on, Arjun was a prince. He was a king of a society. He had so much wealth. Did Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita, remove that? In fact, why is this relevant also? Earlier, Arjun said, I want to quit the war, I want to go sit under a tree and meditate. Take these robes up. Did Krishna say, yeah, do that? Did he? No. Krishna said, no, don't give up your duty. Remain who you are. If you're a warrior, a prince, stay as that. If you're a student, be a student. If you want £1 million, fine. Krishna says, okay. Aim for £1 million. But what's covetousness? What's greed? Wanting more. Because you want £2 million. Then you want 3, then you want 4, then you want 10, then you want 100, then you want 1 billion. You're never going to be satisfied. Does anyone know who, the younger generation might not know, but does anyone know who Bob Marley is? Yeah, Bob Marley, famous musician. He actually said this wonderful quote about money. He was asked in an interview, are you a millionaire? And he goes, what do you mean a millionaire? What do you mean millionaire? He said, what's important is changing our hearts first. Be a millionaire within the heart. And this is what Krishna's talk about, these divine qualities. But the quote I'm relating to is that, I might not say it as it is, but along the lines, Bob Marley said that numbers are infinite. If you keep chasing numbers, you'll never be happy. Why? You get to 100, but there's another number. It's infinite. You'll never be happy. In the same way, money is numbers. You'll never be satisfied. Never. If the more you want, the more dissatisfied you're going to be. So don't be covetous. Don't aim for more and have a tense desire. I'm a millionaire. This person's a billionaire. I should become a billionaire. This person's a trillionaire. You're just not going to be satisfied. What you're going to do, it comes back to these previous points. Criticizing. You're complaining. You're comparing yourself with others, the 3 C's of the mind. Then what does it happen? The point that Krishna says about ahimsa, non-violent, you're going to be violent in your thoughts. You're probably going to be physically violent to get more money, whatever it is. Money is just one example, don't worry. There's many more examples. But what are we the most greedy, as human beings, collectively, what are we the most greedy with? Does anyone know? As collectively, as human beings, what are we the most greedy with? Anyone know? You won't get detention for wrong answers. It's okay. It's not like that. Love, greedy with love? No, because I think many people do give love wholeheartedly and nicely to others back. But we could be. But if someone's greedy with love, then it's not real love, is it? Time? People are greedy with time for sure. Yeah, that could be one. Yeah? Impatience, patience, time, I guess that would link. But I guess people take a lot of their own time, right? I need myself time, go to the spa. That's okay. Again, Krishna's not saying don't go to the spa. Before we can give to others, we need to give to ourselves. Look after yourself first before you can look after others. You said?
Long life.
Sorry?
Long life.
A long life, greedy with our own lives. Now, wanting a long life? I mean, I guess people want a longer life anyways. But the thing that we're most greedy with is the resources of the earth. How much do we take from the earth, but we barely give back? Right? We take so much. All these fruits, vegetables, they're growing from the earth. How much do we give back to the earth? How much do we look after the earth? Right? When I was young, I've definitely done this, but who's thrown rubbish on the floor? We don't look after the earth. You know, we just think, oh, it's a park, whatever. Someone's going to go clean it up. But yeah, we don't look after the earth. We're greedy with the earth. And the earth is also a living entity known as Bhumi. She's a living entity. She breathes. And we're all here walking on the earth with our weight, not only our physical weight, but our negative weight that we're putting out into the earth. So it's important to think about how we can give back. And there's so many nice projects within the ISKCON community and family that Srila Prabhupada has created, that we look after the cows, you know, they look after the land. There's so much farming projects going on. So just think about these things that we can do. So the next one is cleanliness. We only have 5 minutes. I'll go through these quickly. Is cleanliness. And again, cleanliness is not just about the physical body. I've had 3 showers today, I am clean. No, it's about the mind. You know, we have, it's not about just the dirtiness of the physical body, dirtiness of the mind. Now, dirtiness of the mind doesn't mean, oh, I'm not cursing, I'm not saying bad words, or I'm not thinking of nasty things. It's more so about clearing the mind of those things that clouds us from who we truly are. And who are we truly? As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, from the first knowledge he gives to Arjun, Krishna doesn't just say to Arjun straight away, I am God, surrender unto me, follow me, bas, done. Let's get on with this war. He gives him self-knowledge of who we truly are. We are not these bodies, right? We can tell we're not these bodies. Science proves that every 7 years, every single cell in your body changes. So practically you got a new body, right? But when you're young, again, it's in chapter 2, as Krishna explains, the soul passes within this body from boyhood to youth to old age. So you're young, the body changes, looks different when it's older, in the youth, and then when you're a bit older, and then when you're elderly, total different bodies. But people still can identify you as a particular living entity, right? Why? Because what remains the same is your true self, the soul. So we've already established we're not the body. We've already established we're not the mind. These are separate things from us. But who are we? In true essence, we are the spirit soul. And so it's important to go through the Bhagavad Gita from the start up to this point of the 16th chapter, the divine and demoniac qualities, so we can truly understand when Krishna means be non-violent. Okay, again, you're not punching or kicking anyone, but what does non-violence mean? How can we practically, or even within the mind, truly see this? We can only be non-violent when we see everyone equally. And how are we all equal? That we are spirit souls, and that we are children of God. So yeah, I think I'll stop there because we only have a few minutes left. Like when I was young, I was 15 years old when I read the Bhagavad Gita. And just before that, I was like a fanatic about physics. I loved everything to do with the universe, stars, how stars are created, so on and so forth. And people have this notion, oh, science and religion or spirituality are two separate things. But that's actually a false idea. Because yes, everything that happens on an atomic scale happens because God has created that way. Krishna has created it that way. And within the Vedic scriptures, it talks about things like atoms and so on and so forth. So science is already there. But what Krishna is giving in the Bhagavad Gita is spiritual science, spiritual knowledge that we can use through our daily lives and purify ourselves and finally come to the highest point of existence, which is love for God, love for Krishna. Imagine, that feeling of love. When you had your first love or that young love, it's like a big feeling, like, oh, I want to do this for the person, I want to get this for the person. Even if you're married, that feeling of love you get for your partner, the love for your children. Imagine all of that intensified, but love for God. And it's like that example I gave to you earlier. When you love your parents, you naturally love your siblings. You respect your siblings. So when you love God, you will naturally love every single living entities, no matter their external differences. So I hope you take this knowledge with you. If you don't have a Bhagavad Gita, go to the reception, get one. If you do have a Bhagavad Gita, get another one and gift it to someone, this new year. Think about, just say, look, I've learned this today on Sunday, 7th January. I learned about how I can become more divine and give it to a friend or family member. Let's learn this together. Because the best person you can be is yourself. And that's what Krishna is teaching us through these qualities are not for Arjun. These qualities are not just for you, they're for every single person. And how can we be the best version? When we take the harder road, not the easy route, and imbibe these qualities. So thank you so much. Like I said, I read this when I was 15 and I was mind blown. So please do read it. I hope you are mind blown, and thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions or anything? Yeah, please.
Which version did you read when you were 15 that you understood it? Because it's complex.
Yeah.
So as you said, I'm thinking about my children.
Yeah.
And they went to anti school, so they have a lot of
Yeah.
insight. But to read it, like,
Yeah. No, sorry. So her question was, if you didn't hear, what version of the Bhagavad Gita, that's a very good question. What version of the Bhagavad Gita did I read? And it's quite complex. How did I understand it? So the Bhagavad Gita I had at home was the one which Srila Prabhupada has given the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Now there are many Bhagavad Gitas out there with different commentaries. But this is very important, this Bhagavad Gita, because it says what it is, as it is. Srila Prabhupada is not giving his own interpretations on it. And unfortunately, there are big Bhagavad Gitas out there, many which give their own interpretations, which can mislead us and misguide us to what Krishna is actually saying. It's like, for example, if you're a student, you're not a student. Oh, you look very young. See, he's aging well. He's doing something good. You have to teach me. I'm aging. If you're a student and you want to learn about, physics, where you go to your geography teacher. Your geography teacher's like, okay, let me just give as much knowledge as I can. But that geography teacher is going to mislead you completely to what you actually need to know. So Prabhupada is giving this Bhagavad Gita as it is, as Krishna speaking, as Arjun's understanding, as Krishna speaking to us. So that's the first one, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Now, understanding it, when Krishna was saying some things in there, I was like, Krishna, what are you even talking about? It was just flying all over my head. But I tried to understand it as much as possible. But one thing that Srila Prabhupada speaks about in this purport, which is so important, again, it's this analogy of the student and the teacher. We must go to those who understand it. Again, if I go to my geography teacher who doesn't understand physics, I will learn nothing. If I go to the correct teacher, who's a physicist, the professor, they'll teach me, completely, I will go on the right path. So in the same way, learning from those. Now, there are other Bhagavad Gitas which do follow or are written in inspiration of this. And they're much smaller. I forgot what one of the names of the blue one. Rasika, right? The blue one. Song of God is called? Yeah, there's one by a student of Srila Prabhupada called the Song of God. I think that's what it's called, by Rancho Prime. So they're much smaller. And again, it's just coming to these classes as well which help us. Because, again, I didn't understand it until I started hearing from others. And all I'm doing is just repeating what they're saying and breaking it down which way I can understand it, hopefully you can understand. Because some things are